Woo! Just get started. Give me a minute. Gonna finish up in Harran today. Yo, what's up? You guys ready? I think we're ready. All right.
Don't forget to give me a follow and say hi. Love y'all.
Oh shit! I'm dropping shit. Oh, dude. Adventure time. It's literally my life. If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't know what to do with my thoughts. This show is so good.
It's amazing how strong that song was.
Music is powerful, man. It speaks to a primal pit in our brains. It makes anyone want to get up and get their knees going. Gotta get them pumping, pumping, pumping. Boom, 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 boom.
There's another one that was really good too. Hold on a second. You guys can't see this, but over my songs. That was that one. that helps the voice
I hear
all
you in
weird.
my head, but I don't see you.
I'm sorry. You know, if there was something that I...
Hey, you know what? You ain't got to do nothing, Uncle Phil. Hey, you know, ain't like I'm still 5 years old, you know? Ain't like I'm gonna be sitting up every night asking my mom, when's Daddy coming home, you know? Who needs him? Hey, he wasn't there to teach me how to shoot my first basket, but I learned, didn't I? Hey, I got pretty damn good at it too, didn't I, Uncle Phil? Got through my first day without him, right? I learned how to drive, I learned how to shave, I learned how to fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. I ain't need him then and I don't need him now.
Well,
You know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna get a great job without him. I'm gonna marry me a beautiful honey, and I'm having me a whole bunch of kids. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he can ever teach me about how to love my kids.
There's another one I thought was pretty good. Let's see if I find it. This is actually pretty funny too.
Yoo-hoo! I'm back! Maybe he's asleep. Master Roshi. So, you'll trade me now?
Oh yeah, it was this one.
She
The other
hugged
Adventure
me,
Time one I thought.
then left. Whoa! How did it feel? It hurt.
Guys ready? One hour. Woo! This is not a safe area. What the hell are we talking about? What do you mean? This is not a safe area. What the fuck? Oh. Yeah. This is what I've been waiting for.
Not this again! Oh! Oh shit, what the hell?
I knew you could not resist, Crane.
Oh, would you just shut up? You're the last thing I want to hear.
What? Hear me? What a brilliant idea. Much better. It is fitting that an orchestra plays when kings clash. There, the agents of my will.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. That's so stupid. I'm not exhausted. Ah! Wow, so fucking deep, dude. Save this one harder than I want to him.
Run, Crane, run. It's what you slaves are good at, right? Run or die.
Huh.
God damn it!
Motherfucker! I get chased, I kill. Fuck, really? What do you mean pursuit evaded? I killed him. What the fuck? Do something with that. I got one more hit, come on. Give me stuff. Oh, that's different.
Oh, God. Get off!
What the fuck? Duct tape. That's dumb. Well, that makes me upset. I have duct tape somehow. What the fuck? Fuck out of here! Dude, you stupid ass. That's how I feel. Oh, what? Fuck, dude. Well, that pisses me off. Oh, I'm fucking pissed. And I wasted my weapons. you. Or that. Get him! Fucking hate these guys. Look at me, I'm so special. I can fucking your face. Oh my god! Shit. No! I'm so mad. I wanted to kill all those suckers. Now I'm not gonna have any. My weapons are shit. My weapons are good, but I died twice and it's wasting all my shit killing all these high-powered enemies. I have to run. I don't want to run. Play some pussy shit. Come on. Yeah, just kick me, please. I hate this. What? Oh. Shut the fuck up. Jeez. Really? Fuck up. Huh. The fuck is this shit? Check. Great, another arena.
Quite an entrance. Perhaps you are a king of mud. Dear Crane, accept an offering to the king. You cannot kill me. You cannot defeat me. You cannot even reach me.
Super.
And yet you try and try. Let me offer you a bit of accompaniment. The music of suffering, played by slaves. Perfect for a slave.
Come on, faster, goddammit.
Yeah, I can do that.
Crane, Rice said you would come. You've been shot. What the fuck is going on? This is what we get for trying to make a living. Rice betrayed us all. Yeah, I'm on my way up there, Crane. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker with my bare hands. Not this way. We've laid mines on the 2 floors above us. Go through the 2nd block as high as you can. And you can come back.
Oh, shit.
Terry managed to warn you, did he not? I was right to shoot him. Some might think it unsporting of me, taking out you like this.
I liked you better when you didn't talk so damn much.
But I consider it a matter of, let us call it, leveling the playing field. That is a term you can understand, yes?
What the fuck? One more. Take it. Oh my god, shut up.
Sound as if that hurt, Gray. Allow me to add to your suffering.
What?
I cast the deciding vote. Consider yourself expelled.
What? I totally fucking just like bounced off the wall. I don't know why.
I cast the deciding vote. Consider yourself expelled. You know how many men have bested me in a fight before, Gray? None. No one. Never. Consider yourself a member of an exclusive club.
Where are you hiding, you fucker?
Sad for you, it is a club I mean to disband.
I don't like that wall bouncing ability. They got. What? Oh.
Poor Crane, so consumed with emotion. Burning with the need for revenge. Eaten alive by hatred. Such feelings make you weak.
So, face to face again. I guess that means I don't need this anymore.
With or without it, Suleiman, you're dead.
Come now, Crane. Do not pretend you don't care. How many lives depend on this disc? Hundreds? Thousands? Perhaps billions.
Whoa.
You are right about one thing, Crane. Suleiman, he's dead. You are right about one thing, Crane. Suleiman, he's dead. You are right about one thing, Crane. Suleiman, he's dead. He died with his brother in this city. You don't even belong here, Crane. You don't know what suffering is! I will teach you, Crane. You will suffer alongside me. Yes, go on. You cannot resist. Do it, I won't fight you. Just as you killed Tahir. Do it!
Fuck you, asshole. You want me to make my own rules? Rule number 1. You're gonna spend the rest of your goddamn life in fucking agony.
Do not leave me like this, Crane. Prove you are a man.
God.
Take your vengeance.
Will you just shut the fuck up?
Turned in the blink of an eye. If I were trapped in Harran, this one would have killed me. But now you dangle on the edge of life and death, while the GRE wait to take me to a hospital. I give you the honor of deciding your own fate. Hand me the disc, so that there is at least a chance that Harran might live. And I will make your death painless. Or resist, and doom the city along with you. You have until the count of 5. 1, 2...
All right. Here! Let's ask for a decision, asshole! What do you want?
Rise already told us he had that dead scientist data. All we're interested in is the cure. We're offering you a chance here. Get the rest of the research and come with us.
I can think of a lot of reasons to tell you to go fuck yourself, but why don't we just pretend for a minute that you don't think I'm stupid? You need the cure. It's here, in the city, somewhere. And as long as it is, you won't try to pull any ministry-style bullshit.
Crane, why do you even give a fuck what happens to these people? You don't belong here. This is just a job for you.
No, not anymore, it's not. I'll be in touch when I've decided what to do next.
Crane? Hello, Crane, can you hear me? It's Camden.
Yeah, Doc, I hear you. What's going on?
The analysis just finished on the tissue samples. The results are... well, I don't think the word phenomenal is too strong. Crane, if you can recover Zara's data, I'm certain a cure is within reach.
All right. Hey, we'll talk about it next time I see you.
Please.
This is Io speaking. Get to the nearest safe house and wait until dawn. Good night, and good luck.
Now what? What do I do? I feel like a crazy person. Oh! Yeah, I forgot. I forgot to put the music on the whole time. Go me. Excuse me. But snacks. If I need snacks. Oh, love meats. They got some prosciutto right here. Wrapped out cheese and some meat. Boo. I'm not done. So what now, guys? Time to go back to Mass Effect or what? I think we should. Mass Effect will be really good. It's one of my favorites. It's a really good sci-fi game. I've already beat the first one, about halfway through the second one. So really good. One more. We're good. I love eating my little pickies. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get some water. already beat the game. Stop quitting. Let's watch some videos instead about Dying Light. Huh.
I feel like I've been preaching about it ever since, so if you're tired of that, I'm sorry. But Dying Light 2 has been a long time coming because it's bigger and bolder. You know, a larger world, hours and hours of gameplay, great character progression, and leveling. There's some great atmosphere, and although it's a disjointed adventure, I still found myself enjoying my time here overall. Now, keep in mind, though, I'm just predisposed to liking. Dying Light 2 is something we've actively been anticipating here at GameRanks. We've mentioned it in lots of videos, and although we still don't know too much about what's going on with it or when it's coming out, it's at the top of our hype list. But some folks have asked us, why so excited? Well, it's because the original Dying Light was pretty great. Today, we just want to take a quick look back and talk about why Dying Light was such a big deal. Now, I want to start with a little context because I think Dying Light was primed for success before release. In the year and months leading up to launch, though, myself and some other folks that we knew didn't have the highest expectations. Yes, it was dubbed kind of like that zombie game with parkour, which sounds cool, and it was a bit exciting, but it just felt like it was in a sea of zombie games, and we had already had the Dead Island first-person zombie games, and those were, okay, I guess. But Dying Light released on January 27th, 2015 on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and it completely blew expectations out of the water. As an interesting hybrid of first-person melee game where you kill zombies, mixed with some RPG elements and questing with a dash of Mirror's Edge parkour in a near post-apocalyptic setting, this thing really seemed to be the perfect storm mixture for just a great game. In it, you're dumped into a massive quarantine section of the city of Harran. Actually, you literally parachute into it. It's been closed off, though, because of, you guessed it, a viral outbreak that nobody knows where it came from, and of course it's turning everybody into zombies. You play as an agent of a global relief organization named Kyle Crane, who enters this quarantine zone with a mission directive that's more corporate political espionage than just save everyone in this place from the zombies. So that's where his conflict comes in, and it evolves. Crane is voiced by the very excellent Roger Craig Smith, who we recently mentioned being awesome in Arkham Origins as Batman, among many other things, and hey, he nails it here too with what he's given. Story-wise, it's all okay. There are some characters that come and go, and there are some twists and turns for a battle for a zombie outbreak cure research, but the real star of the show is the gameplay, dude. So Techland, the developers behind this, were actually behind the original Dead Island game. Yeah, I know, I kind of buried the lead there, but yeah. After Dead Island, they realized that what they wanted to do next was such a departure that they decided to go off on their own and make this with a different publisher. Dying Light is primarily action and melee based. You can swing at zombies you encounter, and as you progress, you earn different abilities and moves, like a stronger kick to keep them at bay, stuff like that. And there's a decent level of gore and feedback with weapons that you actually craft, but it's not really the star of the show. And nicely enough, not a ton of guns. When you occasionally pick one up, it does feel significant and important. More often than not, though, it's about crowd control and just really avoidance. You're dodging zombies way more often than anything, partially because your weapons are breakable and you can get killed pretty easily. The avoidance of the zombies gets really fun, though, thanks to the game's parkour focus that I mentioned. You run, you jump, you grab, and climb your way through the rooftops of the city, and it's Basically like, yeah, Mirror's Edge mixed with the good old days of Assassin's Creed when the parkour was really emphasized and key.
Right.
Sure, yes, here it's first person, so it can be a little clunky here and there, but overall it was incredibly satisfying with a good sense of speed and momentum. Couple this with the fact that the game just had a really good way of giving off a sense of scale and height. You know, at times you actually feel like you're up pretty high in a way more convincing manner than other first-person games in this genre. It just felt special. Don't really know how they nailed it, but climbing up on a bridge or a high skyscraper in this game with the sound design and the wind and the sway of the camera, it just really was convincing and unique. And you know, you get to know the ins and outs of Harran and the multiple districts that all were pretty varied, but you know, the scaffolding, the walkways, the alleyways with paths to the rooftop, shortcuts, you kind of play the floor is lava as you make your way back and forth. And you know, you get your own preferred memorized paths. This is partially thanks to a lot of the quests given to you just being fetch quests. You know, run here, kill this, grab this, run back. You know, it's okay though. It worked for what it was. And getting to know the place and then even getting introduced to new areas and getting to learn those as the game goes on was just a good experience. Especially with the day and night stuff. Whew, man, so like at night you can engage in quests and mess around with the world, but you can't see as well. It's pitch black, and there are faster, more dangerous zombies that are like hybrids that can kill you very quickly. They're roaming around hunting for you. Messing around at night is mostly optional, but you can get more XP and stuff to your benefit if you want to try your luck out there. Not to mention the fact that it was legit pretty scary. The game in this setting has a great level of tension, and some of the moments in the game where you're running for your life as the sun is quickly setting, just trying to get back to your home base, oh man, that's just such a good horror feeling here. And I mean, the game only got better as it went on thanks to some good progression, the shakeup of enemy types, both zombie and human, which was interesting to see first when the game launched just how much human encounters there were. It was cool to just kind of see this like just newly post-apocalyptic society where quick factions are starting to cobble themselves together and you have to pretty much kill them all. But you're introduced to these types and these encounters, the progression and learning new perks and abilities and getting access to cooler game-changing stuff.
Yeah. Was it like 6 years later or something like that? I feel like Dying Light is like pretty much evolved. So many updates. There's so many skins. Like mine's like an Arctic, it's kind of like Arctic camo stealth ninja dude. And like all the co-op stuff you can do. It's so crazy. It's awesome. Like with all the co-op stuff. I met this guy in Colombia. This guy is awesome as fuck. And he dropped me so many items, like legendary items and epic items. You know, like the purple and the orange. Legendary, epic is purple. But yeah. Yeah. Really, that's awesome. Help me get through the game real quick. That's for sure.
Stuff like a grappling hook later on just made it to all be paced extremely well. So in terms of raw gameplay fun, Dying Light was like an awesome turn off your brain, kill some zombies, get some loot, do some quests, craft some thing type of fun from beginning to end. It was pretty chock full as far as game experiences go. Now by May 2015, 4.5 million players had played this game. It sold 5 million units by August, and it debuted at #1 on US software sales charts. It also, interestingly enough, has the highest selling first month of sales for a new survival horror IP, beating out the other big guns at the time like Evil Within. And more than 17 million players have played.
It's crazy how good it did, and then the second one is flopped.
This thing as of December 2019. So thanks to, I guess, its success, Techland continued to support it for an astonishingly long time, building on the cooperative element that was pretty simple at launch, adding more quarantine zones and some competitive mode stuff. And then in February of 2016, we got the following. This was like a bigger expansion that had a
liked the Hell Raid expansion. I did not like the Borg or Borks. I don't know. One where they like put you in a nursing or a hospital guard. They say you're gonna die if you don't do whatever. Ozark, something like that. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's stupid. Like, I literally like loaded into my game. I was like, why is this? Like, I didn't choose to do this. It literally did it for me. It's weird. It's like, I don't want to be in this. I just want to finish the game.
New campaign. You get access to a brand new map that was a bit more open. You actually had a dune buggy to drive around in, like full-on vehicle mechanics. Something that really wouldn't have been possible on the tighter city streets of the original map. You get a brand new story. There's new enemies. There's like a new cult out there. This was like almost a new full-on game with a big map, a real full story, new weapons, new enemies, and people were just generally really into it, us included. If you remember, it was actually one of the earliest before you buy videos.
I've not got to that part yet though. That's tight.
As I've done. And the following really is the closest we've gotten to a Dying Light sequel before Dying Light 2 was inevitably announced. Now, I kid you not though, this game got additions and support and all kinds of weird stuff sporadically all the way up until 2020. Yeah, this primarily single-player action-adventure game from 2015 just kept going in a way we hadn't really seen before. So one of the more recent big things, August 13th,
7 years.
2020, we got Hell Raid. This was like a game that Techland was working on that was delayed indefinitely and then pretty much kind of canceled. They must have put a good amount of work into it because they instead released it as an expansion for Dying Light. It's kind of like Vermintide, where like you're using melee combat to take on hordes of enemies. Players weren't like super crazy about it or anything. A lot of them saying it felt kind of unfinished. Yeah, but like the setup is cool at least. You find an old arcade cabinet in the basement of the tower and it's Hell Raid. So it was more content. They gave it to players. Your $60 that you spent if you bought the game at launch for full price went a really freaking long way longer than anyone expected. And this of course leads us to Dying Light 2, man. All the stuff I just talked about is why we're so excited for it. Dying Light 2 looks to really expand upon some of the storytelling and RPG concepts that we got in the first game, really blowing things out in terms of storytelling choices. One of the earliest things they have highlighted is just how your decisions in the world of Dying Light 2 affect the actual world and society around you. This is taking place later in the disaster, so new societies are completely built up, new communities are forming, adjusting to this new zombie life, and it seems cool. From the writers involved to just the creativity and freedom on display, we think it has a lot of potential. And if it's as fun as the original Dying Light, at the very least, we still think that's a win. Now, the game has been in the works for quite some time and delayed.
I heard Dying Light 2 was not great. It was like basically the same game, but nothing really new. And the story wasn't that great.
Quite a bit, and also some people have left the project, but Dying Light has confirmed that it is not in development hell. They just probably announced it a little bit too early, and we're expecting to hear a lot more news from it very soon. So from a lot of angles, from the gameplay to the new stuff to the support that this game could potentially get if it's anything like the first game, Dying Light 2 could be kick-ass. But again, like I said, we just really wanted to talk about why we thought Dying Light was a big deal, or at least it was to us. So this now, of course, flips over to you guys. We want to hear from you in the comments. If you played the original Dying Light, do you have fond memories of it? Do you think that we should relax, it's not as good as you think? Do you think we're underselling it, overselling it? We want to hear from you. And opposed to liking these specific types of games and, you know, titles from European studios with a little unique.
So this is the Dying Light 2 one. Let me know. I'm gonna see what they have to say about it.
Charm to them, and again, I really like the previous games, so that's where I'm at personally. But let's dive in so you can decide for yourself. Oh, and just so you know, this footage was captured on a PS5 review copy in performance mode, and we'll get to that. This footage does show later game areas a bit here and there, but
you guys notice all the foliage? There's so much foliage now.
is spoiler free. Now, in Dying Light 2, you are Aiden, a pilgrim. He's like a runner of sorts in this post-apocalyptic world where people 15 years after this zombie outbreak are trying to rebuild behind walls. Aiden is one of a select few out there who are just out in the dangerous outside world, running around and being a badass. He's looking for a long-lost family member, and his search leads him to this massive fictional city of Villador. Villador is freaking huge and is basically just a post-apocalyptic playground. Like, it's almost shockingly big, especially because you get around most of it on foot. There are different districts and a lot of variety, and it's filled with all types of survivors waiting to sell you weapons and talk to you about nonsense and give you random side quests. The people of Villador are divided up kind of into different factions. There's the survivors, who are just kind of like regular people trying to live. Then there's the peacekeepers, which are like the more militaristic group that wants to keep everyone safe, but can sometimes resort to brutal methods. There's also random murderous bandits out there, of course, and there's also specifically the renegades, who are like Mad Max crazy evil dudes. Now, many of the communities and little open world settlements you unlock are perched atop buildings. The streets below are filled with zombies, but during the day, the nastier creatures usually just hide out in abandoned buildings, and then there's this day-night cycle, and at night, that's when the shit goes down. The game can be really, really dark, and it's just you and a flashlight and a couple of gadgets against faster, nastier zombie creatures. Now, doing stuff at night nets you better loot, more reward items overall, and more experience points. So you have the freedom to explore at night as much or as little as you want, because it can be pretty tense. It can get you pretty sweaty. It's really beneficial to do so, but the game doesn't force you outside of a couple of specific story moments. And just like the first game, these moments can get really intense. Like the creatures, when they're alerted to you, an intense chase starts that only escalates the longer you run, and enemies are like literally popping out of sewer grates, crawling out from underneath cars, falling out of windows in front of you. It gets wild and cinematic, and you feel like you're like drowning in zombies, especially if you're playing on hard. Now, during the day, you're completing main missions and side missions, you're climbing towers to unlock new safe zones, you're scavenging for crafting items to make new lockpicks or bombs or healing items. Generally, you're doing open world stuff. You know, the game has a lot of side quests, and some of them can be pretty involved. Dialogue and story-wise, though, I found a lot of them uninteresting. There is definitely some open world bloat here.
Whatever it says. A lot of stories uninteresting.
Talked about open world games that pack in just a lot of stuff for the sake of it. There is some of that here. There's a lot of parkour challenges and a lot of like samey feeling enemy bases to clear out and take over. There's also some repetition here and there. A lot of interiors look the same, and some places feel like you've seen them before. And if you're a certain type of player, you might get bored of endlessly looting, you know, clicking on the same backpacks or holding square to get a rag or bolts or whatever for another Molotov cocktail for hours and hours. Despite that, the actual progression and pacing, for me personally, was really good, enough that I didn't care. Getting around the city and getting into random fights is satisfying and fun, and the best part of the game. Couple that with making your character better and stronger, it's the icing on the cake. I love good character progression systems, you know, satisfying skill trees and stats and stuff like that. And Dying Light does it well for an action-focused game because every single skill unlock feels pretty massive. Like, you can unlock parkour moves and combat moves in separate skill trees, and each and every single thing has its uses, and once you have it, you feel like you can't live without it. You know, for a game where the base game controls is just like run, jump, climb, and regular attack and heavy attack, the game does a really fantastic job on building on that control scheme as the game goes on, both on your abilities and skills and your gadgets. By the end of the game, you've got like a makeshift limited use gun, insane weapons with attachments, a paraglider, a grappling hook, crazy moves and climbing strength and a bunch of tricks to just get around the city. It feels liberating and satisfying in a video game way to like go from parkour guy who struggles climbing certain things or has fall damage to basically being Spider-Man. I love it. I think the gameplay is just great. Now the combat with a lot of moves unlocked feels good. It can be simple, very simple. It's all melee based mostly, but it's brutal. A little messy because your character moves so fast, but if you get everything handled and you can be slick and you got a little skills, like, you know, you can land on a dude, smash his head into the pavement, parry another dude, stun him, parkour over his shoulders and drop kick into another dude. It can be a little finicky, but when it's all executed well while running around, it's smooth as hell. And like, that's where the game is at its best. It's also at its funniest too, because if something like that I described sounds really cool, half the time you also just screw it up and it's also goofy, but in a good way. Plus, throw in bombs and different weapon types and even a bow and arrow. You can have some really cool moments and encounters. The game was hyped up as one of those action RPGs where your choices really matter. And again, like many games, they do matter, but it still doesn't always feel like much. There are two types of decisions. There are story decisions, which pop up here and there, that definitely seem to change the flow of some things here and there. And then there are the faction decisions, which I thought would be cooler than they are. They're really simple and a little bit underwhelming for a large portion of the game. So you save certain special resource buildings, and then you get to decide who to give it to. The survivors or the peacekeepers. The peacekeepers build fortresses where the survivors just build homes and farms. Now, if you give it to the peacekeepers, you'll unlock more defense items in the environment, like zombie traps and bait and explosives and stuff like that, where the survivors net you way more ways to get around the city faster. More zip lines and trampolines and stuff like that. It's fine, but I've seen other games do this better. Like, it's nice how it integrates into the environment, but I wish there was an element of like balancing act, like not pissing off one side too much. But it's really just whatever, no one cares. Plus, for them to really develop and like really build out the world, it takes way too long for the game to get deep into this, and there isn't enough of it for my liking, but it's fine enough. The story decisions, I think, just have less of an impact just because I don't find the story very interesting. To be honest, I wasn't going in for the story, I was going in for the gameplay, but the story just feels like disjointed. It moves on from characters very quickly that feel like you were supposed to really spend a lot more time with. And even still, they weren't really very likable. And you also just kind of get forced into dealing with certain sides in certain ways that don't really have as much like a faction type control as I was hoping. Plus, the general dialogue and voice acting is hit or miss. All the story stuff, even the main character Aiden and his motivations, it just didn't really do anything for me. I was underwhelmed. But then I go back into the gameplay and I drop kick a dude off a roof in a cartoony, awesome way, and I feel better again. And hey, even still, the characters and conversations look great, and the presentation has some nice music and moments, but anytime I got stuck in a town for too long just talking to people, I just wanted to get out into the world and go back to doing the cool stuff. Thankfully, even if I wasn't crazy about the story, it does offer up a few good battles and some good scripted, unique moments. Now, also visuals and performance and stuff. Okay, now I always like to say, take multiple opinions and multiple reviews on stuff like this. We are not frame rate analysts and we're not gonna like BS you. There are great pros out there, but playing on PS5 for us, performance mode looked and felt pretty good. The lighting, the sunsets, the detail, it's decent. A lot of it is due to the game's art direction, which I think is pretty damn incredible, but performance mode is lower resolution and it keeps it close to 60 FPS. The other modes you can switch on that prioritize graphical quality or resolution, to me, ran at like sub 30 and was really disappointing. I did not use those. I wouldn't go near those. And early reports are saying that the PC version is demanding too. It could use some more fine-tuning and optimization overall wherever you're playing it. The same goes for glitches and stuff. The game is a little jacked up. Like, no, not cyberpunk bad. People might try to clickbait that, but I've seen some wigged out enemy types that get stuck. I myself have gotten stuck, and I've had a couple of weird checkpoint issues and hard crashes. Not broken to me personally, but annoying. and not quite up to par. Now, I do have a tendency, a higher tolerance to shrug some of that stuff off, but we've learned our lessons before. Yeah, things need work, so maybe a word of caution. The game is getting a day one patch that is said to fix quite a few things. I haven't experienced that patch yet, but I expect Techland to be on it, so keep an eye on updates and things if technical issues drive you crazy, because this thing ain't perfect. The original wasn't either, but it's notable here. Now, what I do have in the game is tons of hours in this world, and I can give you a lot of complaints, but I can also give you just as many moments of pure dumb gaming joy in a good way. Parachuting into jumping and killing a man with a giant axe, to drop kicking a zombie into a fire pit, to slowly creeping around at night, sweating, hiding from zombies just to find a health upgrade. Dying Light 2 has a lot of special moments, and none of them to me are in the decisions or the story cutscenes or any of that. It's just in you playing, and that's what made me happy, and that's what lets me still generally recommend it.
I think it's funny. It's all about the gameplay. Stories sucks balls. That's it, basically.
You know, be warned of technical issues and know that it may not quite hit as fresh and as hard as the original game did, but Dying Light 2 still has fun factor. The game was said to be 500 hours, but that's only if you want to do and collect every single square inch. I still think I might end up doing that just because I love the gameplay so much, especially as more glitches are fixed and presumably more cool stuff is added to the game. I just love Villador, and I love cutting off people's heads in the video game. Please don't cut that out. Don't show that out of context. Anyway, this is a before you buy. You know how this goes by now. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion. And now I want to hear yours down in the comments. This game releases later in the week. We, of course, are talking about it before it releases, but we want to know how you're feeling. You've probably read a bunch of reviews by now. Some people just make up their mind immediately from that, but let us know what you're thinking about the game. Let us know what you thought of the first game. Let us know if you played any of that later content. Let's talk anything Dying Light at all, really, down in the comments. We'll be down there as much as possible, but things get a little crazy, so of course, if you ever want to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at Jake Baldino. If you enjoyed this video, though, and maybe it helped you out, clicking the like button's all you got to do. It really helps us out. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Dying Light 2 is here, and wow, there is a lot of stuff to talk about. Stuff that they're not talking about to you in the game. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, 10 things Dying Light...
Let's watch Game Ranks. Appreciate you guys.
2 doesn't tell you. Starting out at number 10, the drop kick is even more overpowered this time around. Probably one of the most hilarious and fun moves to use in the first game was the drop kick, and no surprise here, they brought it back for the sequel. But when I first heard this, my inclination was, oh, they're definitely going to balance it out a bit and make it not quite as effective as in the first game. But wow, I was wrong. If anything, it's better than it used to be. It doesn't just send multiple enemies flying when you connect with it. Now it does a ton of damage. The only downside to using it this time around is that it costs a little stamina, but not much. As long as you haven't completely used up your stamina, you're probably good. Like, this move is great for thinning out crowds, kicking dudes off rooftops, and it's especially handy for taking on human bosses. And it's because there's basically no answer for this move. It breaks guard, it's unblockable, and when you hit them with it, they get knocked back, and it gives you an easy opening to beat on them while they're trying to stand up. If there's any traps around, you'll probably won't even have to bother with that. One good drop kick to the fuse box can sometimes kill a boss in one hit. It's almost too good. The drop kick in this game blows the one in the first game out of the water, which is crazy because in the first game it was ridiculous. At number 9, there is a great trick to grind uncommon infected trophies. Probably the grindiest aspect of Dying Light 2 are these infected trophies, which are exclusively used to upgrade crafting supplies. The only way you get them is to kill special infected, and they drop at 3 different levels: uncommon, rare, and unique, depending on the infected you looted from. Most upgraded crafting recipes, they're major improvements, so you're gonna need a lot of these trophies if you want to upgrade anything. But strangely enough, probably the type of infected trophy you'll be short on the the most is supposed to be the least rare, the uncommon infected trophies. The issue is that you need a lot for upgrading, and you probably won't be finding any if you play normally. That's because the two most common enemies they drop from, the virals and the howlers, are enemies the game trains you to avoid. So if you want to get a lot of uncommon trophies fairly quickly, you got to do that. Go out at night from the bazaar and find a howler. Kill them, loot them, and start running, because they always get a howl out if you kill them normally. Now you're gonna be chased by a bunch of virals, which are the fast ones. So you run around until you find this truck in a narrow alley along the wall at the bazaar. You go inside it, you stand on the ledge, you just bash any virals that try to come in. Just keep doing it, and eventually you'll have a pretty nice pile of bodies to loot. This is the best place I found near the bazaar, because there aren't any normal zombies here to get in your way. So you can go and get all the virals. All the virals. It's annoying to have to slowly loot each body, so just run down the alley and come back, and all the bodies should be replaced with packages that you can collect way faster. So that's it. Now just rinse and repeat. You'll get a ton of uncommon infected trophies for upgrading purposes. If you're not quite tough enough to take on that many virals, an easier but less efficient way to get trophies is to start a chase, then run to an IV lamp and attack them from there. They'll stop and try to run away when the chase ends, but you can still hit them in the back and loot them afterwards for a few easy trophies. At number 8, you can mod weapons to restore durability. In the original Dying Light, repairing weapons was really easy. You just used a weapon repair kit and you're good to go. It's not so simple in the sequel. For players just starting out, you might think that there's no way to restore a weapon's durability because there's no repair kits in the game. But there is a way to fix your weapons. For all the tutorial messages that the game throws at you, it's never straight up explained, but modding weapons also repairs a portion of a weapon's durability. That means the best time to mod a particularly good weapon isn't when you first get it, but to wait till it's about 50 to 75% used up. So that way when you mod it, you're not just making the weapon stronger, you also maximize the amount of time you get to use it without it breaking. That's not the only way to preserve your weapons either. There's also a particularly powerful grip mod that you can use to increase a weapon's durability by a flat percentage. The mod starts at a 10% increase when you buy it, which is okay, but every time you upgrade, it increases the durability by increments of 10. So if you upgrade this mod, you can keep using your favorite weapon for a whole lot longer. Like, it's gonna eventually break no matter what. Maybe not in a Breath of the Wild way, but it is inevitable. So at least you can delay the inevitable a little bit by making your weapons last a lot longer than they normally would. At number 7, noisemakers are still very powerful. One of the most useful tools in the original Dying Light was the humble noisemaker, which is literally a bunch of firecrackers bundled together, which can be used to distract zombies. It's fairly useless against human enemies, obviously, but for a large group of zombies, it's incredibly handy. The obvious use for these is to sneak around zombies, and they work really well for that purpose, but they're also really good when you're in combat. Like, if you mistakenly wake up an entire dark zone or want to clear out a convoy, there's just no better way to deal with it than to throw a firecracker near an explosive, wait for the zombies to pile up, and then kill all of them. It doesn't matter if they're alerted or not, the noisemaker overrides everything else as long as they're not special infected. But that's really only a good thing, because using the noisemaker makes it so much easier to separate out the special zombies, who are relatively weak on their own but a huge pain when they're surrounded by other zombies. Upgraded noisemakers are even more powerful too. They lure the zombies for a longer time and at a greater range. So proper use of noisemakers can turn a dangerous situation into an easy one. They're just all around great. At number 6, the starting paraglider's not great. It takes a long time to get access to the paraglider in Dying Light 2, but when you do, it is incredibly satisfying to get a chance to fly all over the place. Only problem is the unupgraded paraglider you start out with kind of sucks. The main problem is with how slow it is. Unless you've already put a lot of points into stamina, you can barely stay in flight for more than a few seconds. That's why it's important to upgrade as soon as you can, because trying to get around the downtown area with the standard paraglider, huge pain in the ass. The cost of the upgrade is pretty steep, but it is 100% worth it. The second area is also very different from the first. It's more vertical, there's a lot more space between everything. If you're constantly falling to your death because of the paraglider, that's going to be really frustrating. So at upgrade, all you need to do is get a pretty big wad of cash and some military tech, which you can scavenge from airdrop locations. They're marked with parachutes. They're not hard to find. Each location has one piece of military tech, and you need 3 to upgrade. upgrade. So these things are challenging to get to, but one funny thing about them is they actually refill after a while. So you can go back to an already cleared drop and pick up another piece of military tech if you want. Keep that one in mind. Put that in your pocket. I think you'll like it. There's an especially easy one near a Night Runner outpost in Horseshoe, and every time you go back there, there's new military tech to pick up. So you can easily get enough just by continually coming back to this spot. At number 5, throwing knives are great for a lot of reasons. The easiest way to get rare infected trophies is through bolters. They're really annoying on their own. They start running when you get close, and chase them down is a pain. Just use a throwing knife the second you spot one, though. That'll stagger it and let you close in for an easy kill. Just one knife turns these annoying dudes into absolute pushovers, and it makes it so rare trophies are actually some of the easiest ones to get. It doesn't just work on bolters either. Bandits are basically the same thing, except they show up in the day, but the knife is just as good against them, and depending on what you're looking for, the loot's probably better. Throwing knives are incredibly versatile and only get better when you upgrade them, because upgrades don't just increase the damage they do, they also stagger the enemies for longer after upgrading. So they're great for taking out runners, dealing with crowds, and even fighting some bosses because they can do some real damage considering how cheap they are to make. At number 4, old world money is the most important resource, which how much time this game dedicates to crafting, you'd think that money in Dying Light 2 would be kind of an afterthought, like in the first game, but it's actually the total opposite. In this game, what you really want is money. Crafting materials are actually a distant second place. The biggest reason is because stores actually sell good stuff in this game, instead of just being a place to dump vendor trash. The stuff you buy in stores is almost always slightly better or even way better than the stuff you currently have, and that counts for both weapons and armor. Getting money is also a relatively simple exercise as long as you focus on it. There's 2 types of areas that are great for making money: Forsaken Stores and Dark Hollows. The Dark Zones are another good place to get some money. They have these dangerous gas areas that always have a hard chest to open in them, and it's always filled with valuable stuff. But if you go into one of these places, you definitely have immunity boosters handy. But look at the descriptions for these places. If they've got a diamond on them, that means they're filled with valuables. You just go there at night, equip some armor that makes it hard for zombies to detect you, and then just walk around and grab anything not nailed down. You don't have to sneak in these places as long as there aren't any wandering zombies. All the ones that stand in place will just never notice you if you keep your distance and don't run. Easiest places to loot are Forsaken Stores that are filled with crystals. These things are worth a lot, and because there's only a few of them in the store, they take a lot less time to collect. I don't really have a full-blown strategy to make money in the game, but as long as you're looting valuables, you're obviously going to be in good shape. At number 3, upgrade lockpick blueprints to open chests and doors faster. Like, you're doing so much unlocking in this game. So anything that's going to speed that process up is definitely helpful. Most of the crafting recipes you get give upgrades that are just flat improvements, but if you upgrade the lockpick, it actually unlocks a new ability where you can sacrifice 2 lockpicks to instantly open certain locks, starting off at easy and moves up from there as you upgrade it. It's an easy thing to miss because for a lot of people, lockpicks are the last thing you might think about upgrading, and you have to upgrade them at least once before the game tells you you can even do this. But they're one of the cheapest crafted items you can make, so there's really like no good reason not to instantly open locks whenever you can. It's small, but with all the lockpicking you do in the game, it really adds up quick. At number 2, there's an easy way to take out goons and demolishers. Other than volatiles, the 2 toughest special infected to deal with are goons and demolishers. They're big guys who take a lot of damage, and they're normally pretty difficult to avoid. At the start of the game, you'll see a lot of these guys hanging out in military convoys, and they're pretty intimidating until you realize their one weakness: butt hugging. Basically, just do what works against any giant monster in Dark Souls. Get behind them and stay there. They will really struggle to hit you if you manage to get behind them, especially if you stand partially opposite their weapon arm. Once you get back there, they have a hard time trying to turn and face you, so it's actually pretty easy to just get behind them and start wailing away. The most dangerous thing they have at this point are the other zombies, so just distract them with a noisemaker and you can take these guys easy and in peace. You might still take a hit or two, but with some practice, these guys are out in no time. They look pretty scary, but once you get behind them, they just is not much they can do. And finally, at number 1, you can kind of dual wield. Kinda, a little. The guns in the original Dying Light were pretty fun to use, even if they eventually kind of broke the difficulty of the game. The sequel is a different story though. There's long-range weapons like bows and crossbows, but there aren't really any guns except one, which, yes, the gun hammer, a hammer in the shape of a gun. No, we're not talking about the homemade shotgun, which is a single-use weapon you can craft and use as an accessory, but you can use this at the same time as your main weapon, which kind of counts as dual wielding. If you equip the gun hammer, you're technically dual wielding gun. So yeah, if you want to go full Dishonored or Deathloop, just equip the homemade shotgun and a machete and you are good to go. That's all for today. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. We upload brand new ones every single day, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this one. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on GameRanks. There is so much to do and see in Dying Light 2 that it's hard to get to all of it. But there's even more than that. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the 10 best Easter eggs and secrets in Dying Light 2. There's an extensive amount of stuff to get to, so let's just get going with number 10. The first thing we want to talk about today is the flying broomstick. Near the top of the VNC tower, you can find a big crane. So complete the VNC tower mission, like fully complete it, and return to it, carefully climb to the very top. Or like if you can just glide to the top of it, that's easier if you can pull it off. But if you look closely, up there you can find a single UV mushroom. If you interact with it, more mushrooms appear. Keep interacting with it, like repeatedly, and this is going to take a while, so be patient, but eventually it stops growing and it'll give you a prompt for a new parkour challenge. This one's called the Baba Yaga challenge. It's based off the mythical Slavic witch. So you fly a broomstick through checkpoints. And yeah, it is fairly simple, but it is a lot of fun. They put a ton of extra effort into this one. Like, you can fly between these floating islands. There's a new music track. Like, it's overall extremely fun and a great little bonus. Having full flight control really takes some getting used to though, especially after you've really gotten used to gliding, having to have done that the entire game. But once you get the hang of it, it's not like particularly challenging. But the fact that they included an entirely new movement mechanic hidden away on an Easter egg is a fantastic example of how elaborate and awesome some of these secrets are. It's great. At number 9 is a weapon from Cyberpunk 2077. Another one you need to get to the top of the VNC tower to access. So get used to seeing that, because a lot of these Easter eggs are related to the VNC tower in some way. But once again, ride the elevator up, paraglide at this random building. It's near the developer room. You meet this one guy called the Liquidator. He's kind of just randomly standing on the ledge. He's going to talk a while. This guy has got so much to say, and a lot of it just doesn't matter. It's nonsense. But he does mention Kyle Crane, the protagonist from the first Dying Light, and he mentioned some other stuff like that he's an agent for LDPD. If you think it's foreshadowing or that he's some important character, forget about that. If you want to know what LDPD stands for, it's Level Design Police Department, which is entirely a developer in-joke. So basically this guy's just a goofy joke meant to confuse the player. You talk to him, he disappears, but he does leave you a gift. A good gift at that. Blueprints for the Cyber Hands 2177, which is a joke weapon based off the Mantis blades from Cyberpunk. They do look a lot like them, but just a little more post-apocalyptic and crappy. And even though the damage isn't great, they seem to pretty much always do electrical damage. So in the right situation, that can be very useful. And number 8 is some secret Mario shoes. Probably one of the best Easter eggs in the first Dying Light was World 1-1 from Super Mario Brothers, which also contained a blueprint for a hover suit that let you glide like Mario's raccoon suit. This one's not quite as elaborate as that one, but it does get you a Super Mario move. This one coming a little bit later in the series, Super Mario 64, is where this move exists. If you look around the Big Bandit camp in the Lower Dam Ire section of the map, you can see this cargo container attached to a crane. If you manage to get inside, there's a special pair of shoes that, when you jump 3 times in succession, will end in Mario doing a full-blown Mario triple jump with a flip at the end. Like, exactly like Mario does in his 3D debut. Aiden even does a little laugh when you do it, which kind of sounds a little like Mario's noises when he jumps. It's very silly, but it's also a lot of fun to screw around with. At number 7 is the hoverboard. If you can manage to reach a room hidden on the St. Thomas, the Apostle Church on St. Paul Island, there's a hoverboard propped up against the wall. There's also a message you can find that was left by Tolga and Fenton, characters from the first Dying Light, confirming they survived and are apparently still around. Or maybe it's an old message, I don't know. Once you interact with the hoverboard, then these footsteps appear. When you use your survivor sense, you just follow them until you find another hoverboard, and then another. 4 in total. You find the last one and you can play a secret hoverboard minigame, which is just a very difficult parkour challenge where you have to navigate the hoverboard through a dangerous landmine-filled obstacle course. Compared to the broomstick challenge, it's actually brutally difficult. You got to navigate these narrow wooden poles, and it can be really, really frustrating. But it is short, so there's one small saving grace. It's a really cool secret and a fun little challenge, so definitely no complaints here. And number 6 is the secret developer room. Yet another Easter egg you can come across from the top of, guess what? Can you guess it? It's the VNC tower. So to begin, you need to paraglide over to the tower, with the GRE airdrop on it, the one with the parachute hanging off the side. From up here, you just need to find this one power cable box. Doesn't look like there's anything to connect it to, but if you look around, you find this yellow board hanging off a ledge. And if you look down from there, it's possible to fall and land in a room a few doors down. The trick is that you can't go straight to it or you'll just die. Instead, you need to land in a different room that's a little to the side before falling all the way down. Inside, you'll find the place to plug the cable into, as well as another power cable on the other end of the room. You pretty much have to do just what you did the last time again and again. Plug the power cable in the power box you find below, find the final power cable, you fall down to these grassy landings, and the only way to survive that is to grapple onto a lamp as you fall. You do it twice, you connect the final cable, that opens up this door beside it, which leads to a developer room. So inside there's posters for other games that Techland's developed, a bunch of developer in-jokes, and a couple of secret blueprints. One you get for sitting in 4 different spots around the room, and one for sitting a very long time in this room with teddy bears that slowly fills up with teleporting teddy bears. It's weird, it's hard to explain, but you can see what I'm talking about, right? Sitting in all the chairs gives you a blueprint that builds a charm that repairs any weapon, while the teddy bear room gets you the left finger of Glova, a ridiculous weapon that lets you kill enemies with the power of the finger gun, which is also related to a secret weapon from the first Dying Light. The blueprints are just the icing on the cake though, because even on its own, the developer room is just a great secret that's kind of tough to find, but not impossible, and the room itself is just wall-to-wall developer in-jokes and nostalgia. And number 5 is a dancing zombie Easter egg, a weird one to be clear, but one that's not on the VNC tower. If that matters to you, it doesn't really matter to me. In Old Villa Court, near the top of the map, you can find a soccer field and a ball sitting in front of a goal. Kick the ball into the goal, and for some reason, this weird effect will occur and the ball's gonna disappear. That seems like it, right? At this point, seems like there's not really anything else to do, but if you leave and come back, the ball will reappear, so you kick it into the goal again. Now, all you gotta do is leave, come back, leave, come back, keep doing the same thing, and it takes around 9 goals and an Easter egg triggers, and it is really dumb, like a really, really dumb Easter egg. A zombie appears and does a little dance, and that's all. That's it. It's just bizarre, silly, not useful, fun, but good dancing? Nah, no. At number 4, there's some pretty obvious Resident Evil references. During the big VNC tower mission, one of the peacekeepers you try to rescue is named Leon, and he wants you to find another one of his teammates named Chris, like Leon S. Kennedy and Chris Redfield, 2 of the main dudes from Resident Evil. I am not sure why they decided to include a reference to another game in the middle of a big climactic mission, but that's Techland for you. It can kind of take a little bit of the drama out of the situation when the guy you're trying to save is named Leon and looks like Leon from Resident Evil, and he's begging you to save his buddy Chris before he dies. But it's still a funny little Easter egg. Great reference. And just to make it totally obvious, you can get Chris's dog tags and it literally just says the guy's name is Chris Redfield. So it's definitely a Resident Evil Easter egg. It's a smaller, maybe less crazy secret compared to the other ones on this list, but it's so obvious we had to mention it. And number 3 is a space chicken Easter egg. Yeah, I said space chicken. It's one that's accessible only after you beat the game. One of the final missions has you infiltrate the stronghold of the Renegades, and after beating the game, it's possible to return. When you return and look around, you can find a door that was previously locked, and if you go through it, down this long series of hallways, you can find a hidden room containing a chicken in a birdcage. So this is already pretty weird, but it gets weirder. You can actually talk to the chicken, and while it only speaks in clucks, there there is entirely new dialogue for Aiden, where he acts confused as if something is supposed to be happening. The chicken actually explains that he's the cause of the zombie outbreak. The Galactic Federation wanted to stop mankind from destroying the Earth, so they released the virus. After causing the end of the world, the chicken is now stuck on Earth and needs your help to escape. This starts the Space Cock mission. Don't get to say that word much on this channel. Where you need to find the chicken's UFO, which looks like an old car with rockets strapped to the sides, and then you get a part so they can teleport away. It's as strange as it sounds every step of the way. Aiden is not the only one confused here. Anyway, when the chicken goes, it leaves behind a blueprint for the Pan of Doom, a dumb secret throwing weapon that costs way too much to build. It's so ridiculous at every point, step, just every turn. It's so silly, but it is a great secret. And number 2 is the secret pentagram. After beating the VNC mission, it's possible to return to the basement and find a previously locked door that's now partly open. You go inside, you find an elevator, and it leads you to a mysterious location that looks like a place to perform a ritual. You can't actually do anything there, though, at first. The only way to complete the ritual is to gather 5 black rubber ducks hidden around the city. Rubber ducks. Yeah, seriously, these things are hidden in some of the most remote parts of the game, so trying to find them all is practically impossible by yourself, but if you do manage to get them, you can place them on the 5 altars around the room, and that restores power. So then you connect the cables to form a pentagram, and the ritual is complete. It unlocks a floating shotgun that you can interact with to begin a combat challenge that sends you into a classic Doom-like arena where you can blast zombies with a shotgun. It's a big love letter to Doom. Pentagram, get it? You know? Honestly, shout out to the Dying Light Reddit for finding all these things. There's no way we would have been able to hunt them down. And finally, at number 1, the secret red ducks. Yeah, these Easter eggs, they sound very silly, don't they? It's because they are. This is a game with so many secrets that it has more than one color of secret duck. The red ducks are a little easier to find compared to the black ones, but they're still pretty obscure, and instead of collecting just 5 of them, you need 10 to complete the Easter egg. The reward's not that impressive either. Instead of a crazy Doom level, you get to ride bikes around the city. At least that's what people are speculating. Some people online have managed to cheat and unlock the ability to ride bikes, so we know it's possible. And whenever you pick up a red duck, it makes a bicycle ring sound, so it's probably that these are connected things. The reward's not quite as impressive. It's still a pretty fun secret that gives you a new way of getting around, though. So we've actually got some fun little bonus ones here for you as well. There's some Dead Island Easter egg. One of the earliest Easter eggs is found in the party house at the beginning of the game. Inside you can find a record for Who Do You Voodoo, and Aiden can look at it and say,
"Who do you voodoo? Sounds familiar."
The reason it sounds familiar is a song that played during the opening of Dead Island, The Part in the Club. For anyone who played the game multiple times, the song's probably seared into your memory, and Techland mentioning it here is a fun callback. Also, during this whole prologue section, you look out at the river, you might notice a tiny little island with a single palm tree on it. It's actually a reference to the Dead Island logo, which showed a little palm tree as part of the name. The next one on the list is a little bit of a smaller one. You probably see why it's a bonus pretty much immediately, but if you wait long enough at the party house in the beginning of the game, your companion starts playing the Dying Light 2 theme on the piano, which is a nice little flourish. Finally, there's an office Easter egg on Culvert Island. You can find this little note pinned to a wall. It's from someone looking for a stapler, which you'll probably recognize as a reference to both Office Space and The Office. The note itself is signed Dwight Kurt S. III, so Dwight Schrute from The Office. And then, of course, there's the "Have you seen my stapler" guy from Office Space. Not that there wasn't a fair amount of stapler hijinks in The Office as well. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanks.
Today's video is sponsored by Dying Light 2 Stay Human, currently 45% off, even the deluxe version, which is also 45% off. That includes the new Bloody Ties DLC expansion. It's not too often we take a double dip into a universe to see how screwed we are. Things went from an isolated incident in the small country of Harran to an international disaster that swept over the entire world. The same infected monsters and threats that amplified into the night resonate still to this day. But with time and government and military intervention, things have gotten much worse. There is a litany of new dangers, game-changing elements, and most importantly, bigger reasons as to why you wouldn't survive. Today we are discussing the Far Cry 4 Undead Nightmare peak athletic male performance. The ultimate battle of Dead Island versus Dying Light has returned.
Who do you voodoo? Sounds familiar.
Just like real life, the world is full of degenerates.
That must be the fella who masturbates all day long.
Are you bad at parkour or just severely out of breath? Just take dozens of zombie virus-infused drugs. What could go wrong? At first we said, yes we crane, but now we're looking for some Aiden. We went from crafting fun weapons to breaking all the weapons Breath of the Wild style, bad night, bad luck, a commentary on humanity's arrogance.
Hey guys, there's a monster.
I am my own monster.